Hello there everyone, this is Brother Birch. In this video we will be completing the team activity from week 2. Alright, I'm picking up right where I left off in the introductory video, except that I pulled this up from W3 Schools. Alright, I just Googled W3 Schools HTML and I thought I'd copy this kind of HTML template to start off my file. So what I'm going to do in here, I'm going to say new folder and I'll say week 2, and then in here I'll say new file and I'll just say index.html. And then in here, I'm going to paste that. Okay, and in here, I can type Shift-Alt-F to format this a little bit better. And let's go ahead and look at what else we have to do. So we can close that now. There's my app. All right, so create a page with a head element that provides a title for your page and links to external CSS and JavaScript files. All right. So let's go ahead and do those three things real quick. I have a title here. I will call this week 2 team assignment. All right, and then in the head, we also need a link to a style sheet. All right, and my link is going to be, let's go ahead and call this Birch week, week 2.css. All right, now I gotta make sure we create that file, Birch week 2.css. All right, so we should be good to go there. And then now we need a script tag. And then in the script tag, we're just going to have a source, and let's just keep our same naming convention and say Birch week 2.js. And then over here, we can say birch.week2.css. Whoops, JS. All right, so we have our files linking up here, and it looks like this is good to go. I would encourage you to frequently run your code as you're going through it. So right now we would want to run this to make sure that we don't have any errors before we continue. But for the sake of this video, let's go ahead and continue. On the HTML page, create 3 divs and a button labeled click me. Alrighty, let's do it. We can take this out. We need 3 divs. Whoops. Copy, paste, paste, and then a button labeled click me. Okay, save that. Come back over here, 3 divs, button labeled click me. Need a capital M. Okay, add classes and or IDs to your divs, then use the CSS to set their font size and background color. Okay, so let's just go ahead and put IDs on each one of these. So if you hit Control Alt, if you hold those and hit your down arrow, you can make multiple cursors going down like that. Let's say ID, and then this will be div 1, div 2, and div 3. Okay, see what else we have to do. Then use CSS to set their font size. Okay, so let's go ahead, since we already have our CSS file made, we need font size and their background color. So let's go into our CSS file, make sure that's saved. And I'll just say, we're looking at IDs here. I said div 1. You know what, let's make these a little bit different. Let's call these big, medium, and small. Okay, I'm going to select all those, come into here, and paste them. All right, these are IDs, so we needed that symbol in front of it. And we can make classes for each one of these, or define styles for each one of them. All right, for big, let's just go ahead and say font size is 200%. And we need a background color. For now, let's just say green. Green yellow, that sounds nice. Okay, let's go into medium. Let's go ahead and just copy this, paste it here and here. So for medium, let's make our font size 150. And for this, we'll say pink. All right, and then for small, we'll say 80%, and we'll make our font, we'll just say violet. Alrighty, so we have IDs set up. This, as long as our CSS is hooked up properly, will show up pretty well. Let's see what else we have to do. Use CSS to set their font size and color. Check. Add a function in your JavaScript to alert the text clicked, and have your button call this function when clicked. Okay, so let's go ahead and throw a function in here real quick. Let's pull this up. All right, so this is all hooked up. Let's go ahead and make a function. We'll just say function send alert, and alert clicked, just like it said in the instructions. And we'll save that, and we're going to copy this function name, and then in here we'll say on click send alert. All right, let's make sure that's what it wanted us to do. Add function in JavaScript, and have your button call this function when it is clicked. All right, so now let's upload this real quick. So I'm going to say get status. You can see that we added some files. So I'll say get add, and I'll just add everything in web, which will by default add everything in Wheat too. So all these files that we just made, I'll say get commit m week 2 team work started, and get push Heroku master. All right, we can push to GitHub once we're done. I want to push to GitHub or to Heroku so that I can actually test my code to make sure that I have this first chunk working. So I'm going to come out of here. That was from week 1. And let's see where this is. So week 2, index.html should come up by default. So I'll just say week 2, and that should do it for us. Good. This is the heading. Click me. That pops up. Great. The one thing that we didn't really see is our divs, because there's nothing in them. So let's go ahead and add some content. Whoops. Add some content here. Save it. But we're just going to leave that as it is for now. Okay, we'll push again in a couple of minutes. All right, so that is the end of step 1. All of this. Use CSS to make it so that hovering over any of the 3 divs causes the text to temporarily become bold. All right. So a real easy way to do this, since we have 3 divs, for this assignment, we can actually just add a change for all of the divs in the document. So say div, hover, font, weight, bold. Okay, so we should be good to go there. Let's look at what else is here. Okay, check. Make it so that the user can specify custom colors for the first div. To accomplish this, add a text box and another button labeled change color. Write a JavaScript function that gets invoked. Okay, so let's go ahead and start with the text box and another button. All right, so let's come into here and let's look at our first div. All right, so here's our div, and I'm just going to say this is our first really important div. Okay, because it'll be nice and big. Okay, I have a break here, and then let's have a button. We can say change the color of this div. And in here, let's go ahead and add an on-click attribute called change div. Okay. Now we also need to add an input to be able to change this. So we're just gonna maybe right above this have another break, and here we'll have our input ID. We'll just say color to change. All right, so we'll have each of those. Now let's make our function in JavaScript. Okay, so in here make a new function called change div. Let's actually call it change div color. Okay, and we'll say document.get element by ID. Let's see, what was the name of that one? We named it big. Oops. Big dot style dot background color equals document dot get element by ID. And let's grab our input here. Color to change dot inner HTML. Sorry, not inner HTML. Value, pulling from an input. All right, so this will isolate our big div, change the background color to whatever the user typed in here. Okay, value. So let's go ahead and save this, and let's upload real quick. I'm going to pause the video. All right, so I just finished pushing to Heroku. So let's go ahead and look at that and see how it's looking. All right, so we need to check to see if our hovering is working, and it currently is not. Okay, let's say blue right here, see if that changes anything, and it does not. It looks like we have an error showing up in here, so let's see what's going on. Change div is not defined. It's because I changed it to change div color. All right, so if, just to test it over here, if I change this to, let's see. Oh, did I not save? Looks like I didn't save our JavaScript file. Okay, all I had to do was empty the cache. So these are turning bold when I hover over them, so that first part's working. If I put blue right here, that didn't work. That's giving me an error. Let's see what it is. Change div is not defined. So there's our error. Okay. So if I go into JavaScript, into the JavaScript file, if I change this to change div and save it, see what actually happens. It won't let me do it. Okay, I'm going to refresh the page. We have this function change div color. I'm just trying to actually test this without having to push all the way up again. And say color and blue. Okay, so that works. The only error was that the function wasn't named right, and we have to change that. Okay, so let's change that right now before we forget anything, before we do anything else. Change div color, come into here, change div color. All right, saving all that, and let's come back to our instructions. Make it so that user can specify custom colors for the first div. All right. Okay, there we go. That is it for that's it for the core requirements of the assignment. In the next video, I'll go ahead and do all of these stretch challenges as well, and we can do those together. But here's my final HTML code, here's my final JavaScript code, and here's my final CSS code. Okay, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Sorry if it was a little bit long, but if you have any questions, just let me know. Thanks.